Hello, my friends. Happy Monday. It is the 23rd day of our Bible reading challenge. We're in John's Gospel. Still John chapter 13, finishing up Maundy Thursday. It's still Maundy Thursday. They're still there in the upper room, finishing their meal. Things are sort of wrapping up. And Jesus starts having conversations. He's talking with his disciples. The next couple chapters in John, the next chapter especially, are conversations that Jesus has with his disciples. We'll get to them later in this week. But in this reading today, in verses 18 through 38 of chapter 13, Jesus starts to talk about being betrayed. And that gets the disciples kind of stirred up a little bit. They can't imagine one of these friends of theirs that have been traveling with Jesus for the last 3 years or so, doing anything against him, betraying him in any way. But things are clearly moving at a pace and in a direction that the disciples aren't real sure about and are maybe taking them a little by surprise. They just can't imagine someone betraying him. And then right in the middle of this section is the part I want to focus on. Jesus says something kind of random about being glorified, about God being glorified. And it seems just kind of dropped in the middle of this, and how do we make sense of this in the context of the meal? And especially in the growing context of this, the adversity that Jesus is feeling from the leaders, and that is very shortly going to result in his arrest and execution just a few hours after this conversation. What glory is there in his arrest, in his betrayal, in his execution, and in his death? What Jesus is doing and what he's about to accomplish is, frankly, the most glorious thing that has ever been accomplished. Because through this act, God is going to show us his perfect love for his people. Jesus' glory is shown precisely in this act of perfect service that he's going to accomplish in the next 24 hours. God's glory is not that we give him glory. We can't add to God's glory. God's glory is shown in when he demonstrates who he is by forgiving us his people, by taking on himself our sin, by in Jesus lowering himself to do for us what we can't do. God is glorified when he cares for his people. Which is why Jesus, I think, moves on to tell the disciples to love one another. If it's God's glory to love us even unto death, then it's his glory to love one another the same way. The conversation keeps going. It doesn't end there. They start talking about where Jesus is going and who's going with him, and we'll get back to that later this week. We're going to stop there for now. Keep reading. God be with you. We'll see you again tomorrow.